Hey, it's Sky. Today is March 2nd, 2023. I am now on 3 weeks on HRT. Yes, I'm still wearing my silicone forms and my hip enhancers because, well, you know, I prefer how I look with them than without them. Uh, and and apparently I am starting to develop an audience. So hello, one person. Um, Feel free to uh, comment, like, subscribe, tell your friends, whatever. I don't know. If you make it worth my while, I'll put some effort into learning how to do this properly. Um, but it's really been just for me from the get go, but we'll see where it goes. So, yes, 3 weeks on HRT. I honestly did not think I was going to have anything to report today, but a couple of days ago, I started noticing, a little bit of like mood swings starting, which, not the most pleasant thing in the world, but if there were a way to go through the process without that, I'm sure a lot of people would go for that. Um, uh, Further, I have been noticing, uh, probably a little early to get excited about this, but I've been noticing my weight has been going up a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. Uh, which I was worried about, but then I wore an outfit that had a belt yesterday, and I was noticing apparently my waist is still getting smaller. Didn't connect the two of those until I was looking at memes last night and saw one about exactly that. And like I said, a little early to get excited about it now, but if the weight's not going here, it's going somewhere. And so um, I genuinely would not have expected that so early. So, hopefully it's a sign of more changes happening. But, well, um, I want to get into what I was actually planning on talking about today. Uh, so, um, the image that I used for my channel is actually the Autigender flag. Like I said, I don't know how to do this properly, so I don't know how I would go about putting a picture in here, right here. But yeah, the Autigender flag is, yeah, it's the multiple shades of green stripes with the infinity symbol. And, the infinity symbol, if you don't know, is it is a symbol for autistic pride. Um, Typically, it would be rainbow infinity, but not always. It is used in place of a puzzle piece, which is used almost everywhere. And honestly, most of the autistic community really kind of hates the puzzle piece symbol. I don't want to get too deep into that right now. Uh, Perhaps at a later time. I genuinely do want to use this channel to talk about not just trans issues, but also, or trans stuff, but also neurodivergent stuff. That's kind of why I called it Neuro-Trans. Not really married to that idea or that channel name, but I needed to have a name, so that's what it is for now. Anyways, I'm rambling. Autigender. yes, I do consider myself to be Autigender. Uh, and what Autigender means um, is that autistic people largely have a different understanding of gender from the world around us, to the point where a lot of people just don't really fully understand the concept of it. And for what that leads to is for a lot of us, our gender identity can't really be explained adequately except through our autism. And and by the way, it's not just trans and non-binary autistic people who can be autigender. Cisgender autistic people can be as well. Um, I also want to point out that not all autistic people identify as autigender. The label doesn't really fit for some people on the spectrum. Um, uh, it also does not mean that autism is our gender. Uh, that doesn't make any sense. But what autigender means to me and why I identify as such is, well, as I talked about in my first video, um, I actually found out that I am not cis by unpacking my autism and how much I had been masking for my whole life. That is a whole topic that I want to get into at a later time, but I think I need to figure out some bullet points to go through. If you can believe it, I have not been scripting these. But, yeah, so, where was I? Yes. So, I actually was in a position where it had been so ingrained in me that I have to do whatever I can to appear or to live as neurotypical that the role of man kind of became part of my mask. And as I was deconstructing the mask, mask being how it is that autistic people try to um, present as neurotypical, it's not a deliberate process in a lot of ways. Get into that at a later time as well. But yes, masking. When I was deconstructing my mask, I was genuinely surprised to find out that I was not fully comfortable identifying as male, which, looking back on it, really should not have been a surprise. But you know, there was a lot of stuff that I was finding that that really should have been more expected than it was. And I've always had a different approach to gender roles than my peers. I mean, I am happy to call myself gender nonconforming, whether it's as a cis man or as a trans woman. I mean, you know, all this stuff. Not really what is part of the role of woman in our society. But to be perfectly honest, when I was identifying as non-binary, this is the kind of stuff I was clinging to uh, as um, as what I get out of masculinity. But then when I was thinking, what do I really get out of that? I know I'm going off on a tangent. I don't care. I'm going to do it anyways. When I was really thinking about what do I actually get out of masculinity, um, and I was thinking about this stuff and like superhero movies and my love of sci-fi and and combat heavy action based video games. That was all stuff that I have been arguing for years should not be gendered, and it's really stupid to gender it. Um, and I don't know. I guess uh, because I am so willing to break away from normal society, yes, including, or even though I was masking and trying to live as a neurotypical person, uh, even though I thought I was fully embracing my autism. uh, yeah, perhaps because I was willing to break away from the norm on some things, I just feel like interests are kind of stupid to gender. And so, yes, I am hanging on to those interests because they have always been genuine to me. Um, Thing is, I kind of take a little bit of a different take on it. Like I showed in my first video, I like to aestheticize Nerf guns. So this is a toy. This is one that I did actually as a result of when I was showing off pictures of this other one, um, also a toy. um, um, I had I had someone commenting that I've got a little bit of a dark side. Probably true, but I kind of took it as a challenge, and and I think that same evening I went and bought um, this Nerf disruptor, um, and some uh, the colors of paint that I wanted for it, because I didn't already have pink and purple in my paint supply. Um, I also needed to buy some gemstones. I like gems. um, and the thing is, this is the kind of thing that I enjoy doing, and I enjoy the aesthetic, but I really felt like I needed to justify it. So this was the got a little bit of a dark side. Okay, challenge accepted. I'll do this. This was originally intended to be a joke, but I realized I hate that kind of joke. And so I decided to keep the same concept and do it for serious. And I really like what came out. Furthermore, oh, where is it? Oh, here it is. So, you may have noticed a lot of Lego. Not really in frame. There's a lot of Lego in here. This is kind of dusty. That's okay. Lego Movie 2. Sweet Mayhem's Sistar starship. I love that this is girly, but also awesome. I'm gonna put it back up because I didn't think to dust it before I decided to put it in this video. But yeah, I I kind of hate when toy companies decide that they're gonna do a girly thing, and just basically make a girly version of a boy thing. I really love when they decide to do something like, okay, we're gonna make a spaceship. We're gonna make it awesome. It's gonna be its own thing. Oh, and by the way, it's gonna be a traditionally girly color palette, girl color palette. I love that, and somehow that was never a clue to me. But yes, but no, that's I have somehow gotten far afield from my approach to gender. No, not really. But yes. Uh, so, yes. Just the fact that all of that has been there the whole time, and I've been aware of an awful lot of that, and yet I could not actually question my gender identity because that was part of my autism mask. Um, that is, I think, the number one reason I would consider myself to be Autigender, and just kind of what it means to me to be Autigender. And and so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. And and yeah, I really do consider my autism to be inseparable from my gender identity, because I can't really look at it outside of that frame. Uh, and I I honestly couldn't look at that as separate from the moment I started realizing that, even before I started realizing that I'm not cis. Um, and so yeah, but yeah, uh, there's plenty of material out there to describe other people's experience uh, with identifying as autogender. Um, and uh, and so yes, just to wrap up, I do currently identify as an autogender trans woman, and I don't really see how I can get away from that, even if I wanted to. So, but yeah, I think for next week, unless something else comes up that really needs to be talked about, I would like to put together some bullet points to talk about my experience trying to live as a neurotypical person. Even though I knew and fully embraced that I'm autistic from age 9, 8, something like that. And yeah. All right. See you next week.